Welcome to Taiwan Report News Brief, news, analysis, and context from Taichung, Taiwan. I'm Donovan Smith. All right, up today on the program, pandemic changes are still coming. Some foreigners may get stimulus vouchers, but only a few. Taiwan GDP forecasts have been boosted, with 2021 expected to be strong. A German foundation flees Hong Kong for Taipei. More moves to improve Taiwan-India ties. Once again, support is building for Taiwan to attend the World Health Assembly. And of course, Taiwan prepares for a Biden presidency. But up first, headlines. Police have announced that last month they uncovered a shipment of 100,000 9mm bullets mixed in a shipment of trap-shooting shotgun shells to be delivered to a Taichung shooting range. The order was for 100,000 shotgun shells, but the shipment contained only 83,300, with the leftover space filled with 99,700 9mm cartridges and 538 cartridges. A man has been arrested in Kaohsiung, but he maintains he is innocent. The record-breaking bust raised national security concerns. While they didn't specify the nature of the concerns, there is one pretty obvious source of concerns. The Museum, established in December 2016, will close down its operation at the current location in the historic district of Dadaocheng in Taipei City on November 10th due to financial difficulties. It will move to a new location and is scheduled to reopen in April next year. The museum is dedicated to the victims of Japan's sex slave system, but doesn't address martial law era sex slaves. Foreign institutional investors recorded a net fund inflow of more than $2 billion in Taiwan in October, following 2 months of net outflows. Taiwan's manufacturing sector in October recorded the biggest expansion in more than 2 years, according to the Zhonghua Institute for Economic Research. The electricity, electric equipment, and basic raw material industries also climbed out of a recent slump caused by the pandemic. A legislative friendship group that seeks to build closer ties with the member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations has been established to promote regional peace, regional economic development, and bilateral trade. Around 30 lawmakers across party lines have joined the Friendship Association. Taiwan has doubled the annual contribution to $1.5 million to support economic and technical cooperation initiatives led by the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC, Forum. The funding from Taiwan will focus particularly on members' capacity-building needs and on promoting regional economic integration and inclusive and sustainable growth, the APEC Secretariat said in a statement. APEC is one of the few significant international organizations Taiwan is a member of, but due to Chinese pressure when national leaders meet for summits, Taiwan has to send a lower-ranked representative and is referred to as Chinese Taipei. Turkish President Erdogan has removed the Taiwan flag from a thank you tweet to countries that offered support in the wake of a massive earthquake last Friday. He posted pictures of the flag Saturday, but the tweet was later taken down and replaced with a new one that did not include the Taiwan flag. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu told reporters, according to information obtained by a representative office in Turkey, it was due to China's meddling and pressure. As if that would be a surprise. Starting Monday, international travelers who arrive in Taiwan and having experienced COVID-19 symptoms within the previous 14 days will need to provide 2 consecutive negative test results before being allowed to return home or to a quarantine hotel. Travelers from the Philippines without symptoms will be required to stay at centralized quarantine facilities. That may be a factor in the Council of Agriculture saying it will subsidize half of the quarantine costs for new migrant workers in the agricultural sector. The government will refund employers 50% of the mandatory 14-day quarantine costs, up to a minimum of 15,000 NT per person. Recruitment has been slow during the pandemic. As of September, the country's agricultural sector employed only 143 of the total 633,925 migrant workers. In related news, the Japanese government has announced that it lowered its COVID-19 travel alert for Taiwan. The travel alert was downgraded from level 3, which cautioned the public not to take any trips, to level 2, which advises against non-urgent, non-essential trips. According to Minister of Economic Affairs Wang Meihua, the government is considering allowing foreign nationals who hold alien permanent resident certificates to buy into its economic stimulus voucher program. She said the cabinet had tentatively agreed to open the triple stimulus voucher program to the roughly 10,000 foreign permanent residents in Taiwan, adding that a formal announcement would be made once the plan was finalized. The program only runs through the end of the year, but she thought that there will still be a demand for the vouchers, citing the Christmas holiday in December, which, of course, all of us foreigners are totally crazy for. The voucher program, which launched on July 15th, allows Taiwan citizens and their foreign or Chinese spouses with residency permits to purchase 3,000 NT worth of vouchers for 1,000 NT. Now, as an APRC holder, this is good news for me, but the program would continue to exclude non-permanent foreign residents, including the roughly 633,000 migrant workers, most of whom pay taxes like Taiwan citizens. The only reason she gave for why to only include APRC holders was to stimulate spending. Clearly, that's not the reason they're considering this. APRC holders are but a tiny drop in the bucket. Fairness to taxpayers was also clearly not a consideration either. Most likely, the government came under pressure from either foreign governments and or prominent APRC holders. Probably they made the case that permanent residents in Taiwan are often not treated the way Taiwanese permanent residents in other countries, such as green card holders in the United States, are treated. This is a small step in the right direction if they go through with it, but it's only a small one. Similar cases of discrimination abound, including the Taichung city government's plan to cut out non-citizens from the city's 10-kilometer free bus program in January. We have made appeals to the Taichung city government, but so far I'm unaware of any change in the policy. A slew of GDP forecasts have been raised, showing that Taiwan's good handling of the pandemic has produced dividends. The Taiwan Institute of Economic Research revised upwards a previous projection for 2020 growth it made in July by 0.8 percentage points to 1.91%. That is more optimistic than the government's Directorate General of Budget Accounting and Statistics, which projected 1.67% in August. DBS Bank has revised upward its forecast for Taiwan's GDP this year to 1.8% from 0% it predicted in August. ANZ Bank is predicting 1.99% growth this year. Now, if these predictions are in the ballpark, while lower than pre-pandemic predictions, would still make Taiwan one of the best economic performers in the world. However, it is the predictions for next year that are eye-popping. The government's DGBAS predicted 3.92% growth for next year, but TIER is predicting 4.01%. ANZ is the most pessimistic, predicting the economy will expand by 3.3% next year, but the other bank, DBS, is the most optimistic, predicting 4.2%. Possibly reflecting this, Taiwan's TAIEX on Friday ended on a record high, just 26 points shy of 13,000. The Germany-based Friedrich Naumann Foundation has announced it will move its Hong Kong office to Taipei after closing the office earlier this year when China imposed the new security law. The foundation belongs to the relatively small Free Democratic Party in Germany and supports human rights, rule of law, and democracy. They said its new Taipei office is scheduled to open early next year. According to the foundation, the safety of its Hong Kong employees and partners has been under threat. There had been fears employees could be accused of spying under the new security laws, the foundation said. Recently, there has been a steady drumbeat of growing ties between Taiwan and India. In India, representatives of the Taiwanese businesses operating in India met officials in Andhra Pradesh to discuss strengthening economic relations at a meeting convened by the state government Friday. The state's chief minister said a point of contact would be set up for Taiwanese firms to better facilitate communication. Meanwhile, in Taiwan, Taipei is set to host a large Diwali celebration that is being sponsored by the Taiwanese government and will be attended by Taiwan's deputy Taiwan foreign minister. Once again, support is building for Taiwan to attend the World Health Assembly, the World Health Organization's meetings as an observer. More than a dozen countries have proposed to discuss what AFP, terms the controversial Taiwan issue, and many more nations expressed support prior to their May meeting. But the issue was moved back to November due to a shortened May session. The U.S. mission in Geneva said in a statement, quote, during this unprecedented global health emergency, the international community is counting on a WHA that leaves no one behind, including Taiwan. Parliamentary groups have been especially active in bringing back Taiwan, which was allowed to join as an observer under the name Chinese Taipei from 2009 to 2016, but has been blocked since due to pressure from Beijing following the election of President Tsai Ing-wen. A total of 644 parliamentarians from 25 European countries, including Italy, Portugal, Slovakia, Sweden, and Belgium, signed a joint letter to WHO Director General Tedros. Quote, just as you said in a press conference in August, no one is safe until everyone is safe. We therefore should not leave Taiwan behind, especially while each and every one of us is grappling with a second wave of infections, the letter said. Another alliance, the Interparliamentary Alliance on China, with over 170 parliamentarians from 18 of the world's democratic legislatures, including the US and UK, Japan, Germany, Canada, and Czech Republic, also sent a letter. Their letter praised Taiwan's response and added, quote, this not only threatens the health and well-being of Taiwan's citizens, but also creates a dangerous gap in the global network. A parliamentary resolution was passed by the Japan ROC Diet Members Consultative Council, comprising more than 280 parliamentarians across party lines, to affirm their support. Similarly, a total of 144 parliamentarians from various Latin American countries and the Central American Parliament issued a joint declaration. They were joined by 181 parliamentarians from 29 African countries, who are all members of the Formosa Club, which now has a branch in Africa, after similar groups were established in Europe last year and in Latin America earlier this year. On the NGO side, the World Medical Association, a confederation of national medical associations that jointly represent more than 10 million physicians, also added their support. They noted, quote, we believe it is both cynical and counterproductive to continue excluding the health representatives from Taiwan from participating in the World Health Assembly. All right, if things play out like they did back in May, it is very likely we'll see governments, such as major European ones, Canada and Australia, and the US already has, also back Taiwan over the next week or so. In spite of China's heft and ability to strong-arm smaller countries, Taiwan has the wind at its back this time. Taiwan's effective response to the pandemic has drawn worldwide praise and attention. So has Taiwan's widespread donations of face masks and PPE to hard-hit areas. China, meanwhile, has made enemies. In this specific arena, their initial cover-up of the coronavirus has infuriated much of the world. So too as their thuggish behavior in other areas and their ratcheting up of tensions with their neighbors, including India, which currently holds the chair. Donald Trump's declaration that the U.S. will be leaving the WHO may be a problem, but much less so now that Joe Biden is the presumptive president-elect. This is very much worth watching how it plays out, as it will be a clear test of China's influence and how effective the international pushback against it is. Now, if Taiwan comes out victorious, this may pave the way for similar moves in other international organizations. With Joe Biden now the presumptive president-elect, President Tsai responded to a tweet Biden had sent her on her successful election victory with this message. Now it is my turn to extend congratulations to @Joe Biden and @Kamala Harris on being elected president and VP-elect. The values on which we have built our relationship could not be stronger. I look forward to working together to further our friendship and contributions to international society. Now, that's a nice tweet, and the Foreign Ministry sent something similar. KMT Chair Johnny Chang sent out the following, also on Twitter. I would like to extend my cordial congratulations to President-elect @Joe Biden and VP-elect @Kamala Harris. The @Kuomintang, and I also see the, quote, United States of America and, quote, possibility, as Joe says. We look forward to enhancing the ROC, Taiwan, U.S. relations with your administration. Also a nice tweet, but why United States of America was put in quotes, but ROC wasn't, I can't say. It is also interesting that while he used ROC, he also included Taiwan in a manner not too differently than the current DPP does. He also issued a longer statement, which was quite positive as well. Chang, leaving aside his party's stance on ractopamine and American pork imports, has been openly more pro-U.S. than recent KMT chairman. But his predecessor, only just the other day, undermined him yet again. Speaking at a 5-year commemoration of the Maingzhou-Xi Jinping meeting in Singapore, former President Ma said President Tsai should stop choosing sides in the competition between China and the United States, contrasting it with his own approach of balancing Taiwan's relations with the two superpowers in order to maximize opportunity and minimize threats. Taichung Mayor Liu Xiaoyan also congratulated Biden and Harris and went on to bring up the issue of racto pork and Taiwanese food safety. I feel pretty confident that neither Biden nor Harris follows her on Facebook, reads Chinese, or plans to put racto pork exports to Taiwan high on their agenda following inauguration on January 20th. So, what does the Taiwanese public think about the upcoming Biden presidency? A survey conducted on November 5th and 6th by the Asia Pacific Elite Interchange Association suggests they aren't too worried. According to the survey, 52.8% of respondents said they believe Taiwan-U.S. relations will remain the same in response to the question, how do you think Taiwan-U.S. relations will be in the next 4 years, assuming Biden wins the election? Nearly 1 in 4 respondents said they believed Taiwan-U.S. relations will worsen under Biden, and 10.2% said they will improve, the survey showed. The remaining respondents either refused to answer or expressed no opinion. Half of those polled believed cross-strait relations will remain unchanged if Biden wins. 22.7% said relations will deteriorate even further, and 20.8% said relations will improve. The survey also had some interesting questions on local political parties. When asked if they thought the KMT was pro-China and anti-U.S., 42.6% agreed and 50.8% disagreed, while 67.9% agreed and 26.9% disagreed that the DPP was pro-U.S. and anti-China. Asked which party's stance aligned best with the opinions of Taiwanese, 51.2% said the DPP and 19.3% said the KMT, a message the KMT really needs to heed. Asked which party would best protect Taiwan's national security, 45.2% said the DPP and 21.5% said the KMT. It showed also something the KMT should be paying close attention to. Meanwhile, the Facebook account of the American Institute on Taiwan on Friday was inundated with messages such as Biden is a joke and the U.S. Republican Party are the dogs of the evil Chinese Communist Party. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the messages were an attempt to, quote, drive a wedge between supporters of each party and destroy the U.S.-Taiwan relationship. They also claimed that many of the posts were created by bots. One comment included a message from Kobe Ju, who said AIT should leave Taiwan because Trump lost the election. While it is too early to know for sure how strongly a Biden administration would support Taiwan, it is pretty clear they will be fairly supportive. For more on that, check out my recent show on the subject. For another interesting look at the subject, check out the Commonwealth interview with former AIT chair Richard Bush. A link to that article is on our site, report.tw, under the must-read section. My apologies if there was some background noise going on here. There were fireworks and noise trucks going by, and I have a sneaking suspicion that may have meant that the brothers have won the baseball championship, which would be great news for those of us here in Taichung. All right, tune in next time. Like us on Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, all that good stuff. And support us as a patron on Patreon. That means a lot to us.
This has been brought to you by the Taiwan Report. For more content like this, become our patron at report.tw.
哎呦，就是那个台湾狗啦，最喜欢我的台湾狗了。